Hello, good evening, and welcome to the final round of the Virtual Motorsport Series Bronze Split. 2 months of hard racing comes to a close here in the desert of Qatar, with still a lot to play for. Opened in 2004 primarily for motorcycle racing. Actually, the Lusail International Circuit is 5.4 kilometers long with 16 medium to high-speed corners. And well, as the graphic says, non-existent elevation changes. So it's a very, very flat surface, but with a lot of very tricky high-speed corners, which should give us plenty of racing action here tonight. My name is Sverre Koolman, as usual. I'm here at the Bronze Split, and this time I'm joined by a very different co-commentator, Simon Mujic. Is first commentating on the VMS tonight, so that is going to be very exciting. Later on, we might be joined by Daniel as well, as per usual, but it's going to be a very, very exciting race for us here tonight. The final round of the Bronze Split, as I mentioned. So the season is coming to a close. And well, the drivers have fought a long, hard while to get where we are right now, as we are preparing ourselves for the final qualifying session of this season. So, Simon, welcome, and thank you for joining me here in the commentary booth. How excited are you for this race here tonight?
Well, hello, and thank you for inviting me to commentate this nice finale here in Qatar Desert. I'm pretty excited. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty close race and could be some collisions, so I'm very looking forward to that.
Yep, plenty of collisions to be expected, of course. It's Qatar, so it's going to be, well, a very tricky race for especially the hypercars overtaking the GT3 field. The biggest pace difference between those two classes is in the high-speed corners. And well, what do you know? This track is mostly high-speed corners, so that's going to be very nice to see how that plays out. For those of you who have seen the Platinum Split a couple of weeks ago, at this point, I think it was a month ago, we had a huge carnage going on there with the multiple classes and a huge crash into turn 2 with the GT3 field. So plenty of action for us to come as the qualifying session is underway in 15 seconds time. For those of you who don't know, this is one session and the first 10 minutes are reserved for our LM GT3 field. And after those 10 minutes, we have 5 minutes between the two sessions where the GT3 field can run up their final laps and come into the pit lane. And then we have 10 minutes for the hypercar field. So that is the LM GT3 field coming out of the pit lane as we speak. A lot of familiar colors, of course, the purple Fisher Racing Team drivers. There we go. I think that is, let me just take a pic. Should be Manuel Fuchs, I think, or Kevin Kienbaum. Manuel Fuchs, there we go. I still got it. Who is leading the pack and also leading the standings in LM GT3. We'll get to those standings rather shortly when we take a look at the overall standings of the championship. But Simon, how familiar are you with this track? What are kind of the dangers you have as a driver driving around here?
Well, there's not really much straight, is it? It's really just the pit straight, and then you go into very different corner to the other tracks, all that exist. Like, it's a fast right-hander to the right, so it's really hard to dive bomb and even go side by side with someone. And the next turn is not helping as well because it's just a little bit slower than the first one. It's really hard to overtake here, so track position will be crucial here in Qatar. And there's a lot of high speed, so the left side of the tires will be taking so much damage throughout this whole race.
Yeah, so do you think it's an option to not change those tires coming into the pit lane when we have those drivers have to make the pit stop? Will we see some drivers leaving that tire on, or is it just too much of a pace advantage to change that left front tire?
Well, it really depends on the drivers and how much will they be saving, because I feel like the tires will get a lot of beating here, but it's really hard to say if someone will try the other strategy. I feel like a lot of people will try to just go on the same set of tires, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people changing as well, so it's gonna be pretty split in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that strategy plays out, as we are on board with Manuel Fuchs, the championship leader in LM GT3, for his first push lap at the Lucelle International Circuit. As we mentioned, not very much elevation change, but a lot of long flowing corners as he makes his way through turn 2. Very easy to get over track limits there with the gravel trap on the right hand side. Of course, last Sunday, Formula 1 went here in real life as well, which gave us a very exciting race. These cars are a little bit slower, but still very, very exciting to watch going around this magnificent track. And as Simon very well said, very difficult to overtake, especially class-on-class cars. Not that much slow corners. Well, turn 10 or 6 that is, that we just passed through is a bit slower. But that's pretty much the only slow corner on this track. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers will manage that hurdle and still get some overtakes done. Now the plat split, as I mentioned, we saw Manish, I think, take a P4 on debut because, well, he got ahead of most of the field at the start and then just managed to stay there because of the lack of overtaking opportunities. So maybe we'll see something like that in this race as well, as Manuel Fuchs makes his way through 12, 13 and 14, the very, very high-speed right-handers in the final sector. Now through 14 and now up to 15, which is kind of a back straight. I would say it's the longest straight other than the pit straight, but it's still not very long, to be honest. And now diving into turn 16, the final corner on this track. The first flying lap for the Lexus driver, leading the standings with 9 points between the two, him and Fabian Roth in P2. So still everything to play for in LM GT3. Fabian Roth in P8 at the moment, not having set a lap time yet. But those two are really going to be the ones to look out for here tonight. There are multiple drivers just behind them, also technically still in contention for the championship. However, I do see that Kevin Kienbaum, who is in third, is not here tonight, unfortunately, so he won't be able to make any improvements on his final points tally. So I think this will pretty much be between Manuel Fuchs and Fabian Roth here tonight. Simon, have you paid any attention to the championship at this point? And if so, who do you think might be able to get the championship here tonight?
Well, I didn't have much time to study it, but I did study some of it. I feel like Fuchs is like on the run. He can make it probably and get there since he's leading as well. And if he just gets the lap together, starts somewhere ahead of his championship rival, he should be just fine outscoring him and clinching this title easily. But it can be very tricky, as we seen in Formula 1 as well. You just get the strategy wrong, you're gonna be stuck and you cannot get anywhere. It's just the nature of this track.
Yeah, you don't want to be driving a McLaren around here. That is for sure. Luckily, I don't think we have any McLarens for them in this field tonight. So maybe, hopefully for them, they'll be able to get the strategy all correct. But yeah, it really seems to be advantage for Manuel Fuchs. He is 9 points clear of Fabian Roth. Both of them already having had their drop rounds, so no advantage for Roth there if Manuel Fuchs still had to get that drop round in, but he didn't start last time out in Spa 3 weeks ago, so he got that one in as a drop round. So it's a level playing field between those two drivers. Now Kevin Bauer in 4th place is only 15 points behind Manuel Fuchs, and he is driving here tonight. So he's technically is still in this championship as well. However, a lot of things would have to swing in his favor to get this to clinch the title in his favor. He did win. No, that's incorrect. Filiberti won last time out in Spa. So Bauer and both Filiberti as well technically still in this title, but it's probably going to be between Manuel Fuchs and Fabian Roth here tonight. Someone asking it in the chat, why not a McLaren? Well, yeah, as our YouTube admin has answered, it's quite slow around here. That's pretty much the only reason why there's no McLaren in the field here. Pretty much because everyone thinks it's a bit too slow to drive. Well, fair enough. Well, then let's take a look at the standings at this point. It's Manuel Fuchs who takes the first competitive lap time of 57.1. Puts him on provisional pole right now. It's Alexander Radojevic in P2, surprisingly, the young Ferrari driver for the Fischer Racing team. And Fabian Roth, the nearest rival of Fuchs, in P3, just over 10th down on him. And then the gaps are a bit bigger to Stratman, De Ruyter and Jason. Now, interestingly, Simon, Wenger, Bauer and Filiberti haven't set a lap time yet. This track, of course, is very well known for its very strict track limits. Do you think that might have something to do with it?
Yeah, it's very possible. If you look at the screen and you look at the curbings, there's a blue line, and that decides if the car is outside the track limits or not. And it's really hard to just go off here. You just pushing really hard. It's a high downforce circuit. You just want to get the throttle as soon as possible, and you just go a nip tiny wide. You either lose time or you lose your lap time. It's nothing in between. So you just have to be perfect on the track limits, or just be a little bit back and maybe try push lap at the end, so you have a competitive lap time somewhat. But yeah, if you're pushing too much, it's really easy to even go into the gravel trap here. So yeah, the track limits are crucial here in Qatar.
Yep, for sure. It's gonna be just another challenge for these drivers around this track. Not only are the corners difficult, the track limits are always there to catch your competitive lap time out of your hands. If you see Fabian Wenger going into P6 at 58.2, so just over 6/10, just 1.1 seconds behind Fuchs, but Bauer now going quicker still at the 56.3. So the first 56 here tonight. Bauer in P4 in the championship, putting on a good showing here. 8/10 clear of Manuel Fuchs. That is a big old gap. And plenty of space for drivers to get in there. So Alex Stratman, 25 thousandths of a second behind on Bauer. It could be one of those drivers to put on a good lap and put his car into P2. Still a long old way to go though. He's nearing the end of sector 2 here, I think. But it might have been track limits for him, because I don't see a sector time popping up. So I think that's his lap done pretty much. And I'm not sure if there's going to be enough time to start another lap. They have 10 more seconds to start a new lap, and after that they have some time to finish those laps, but you cannot start another one. So this will be the final lap for Fabian Roth. It's an improvement to sector 1. It's not nearly as quick as Bauer though. 1.4 tenths off the pace. So Bauer really putting on a flying lap out of nowhere really in that Porsche 992. Putting on a great performance and putting it on pole here. That's very competitive by him. Fabian Roth sliding through, I think that's turn 10, if I'm not mistaken. That was a bit difficult to tell around this track, to be honest. Second down, this is not looking great for him. So this that doesn't look great for Fabian Roth here, Simon.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. And that slide, it seems like it's like you don't lose that much time by sliding so low, but you lose so much time by just a tiny bit of slide that you cannot control, and then your tires will get cooked here, literally, just because it's really hot here. That's the main thing. We are in the desert, so, and of course if you go off track as well a lap before, your tires will get dirty because there's sand everywhere. As I said, we are in desert.
Yeah, we sure are in the desert, so that's yeah, it's very difficult to keep those tires under control here. There we go. Let's take a look at the LMGT3 standings then. As I mentioned, it is Manuel Fuchs in the lead, 9 points clear of Fabian Roth, so all to play for between those two. Kevin Kienbaum is not competing here tonight, so he's out of the championship, unfortunately for him. Who is competing though is Kevin Bauer in fourth. He is 15 points behind Manuel Vogt, so technically also still in this fight. A lot need to happen though for him to get that title, but he did take pole position here by over almost 0.8 of a second, so it's a great job by him. Then it's Filip Berti, who took the win 3 weeks ago in Spa in P5, 4 points behind Bauer. So also still technically in the fight, but it's going to be very difficult as well. And Alex Stratman in the Lexus in P6 on 41 points. Gregor Hucek in the BMW and Fabian Wenger also in the BMW P7, P8. Merwan Banuada in P9 and Jamie Loke in the final BMW in P10 on 16 points. So still very close to the top. However, it's a lot different in the hypercar story. Gabor Pour is our champion in the bronze split this year. He's not been off the podium all season long. So very, very good stuff by him. 91 points. And it's pretty much impossible for Joao Vunto to overtake him here tonight. Even with the drop round that Gabor Pour still has to get that championship over. Unfortunately for Vunto, so Gabor Pour is our championship champion in the bronze split. There's Mathieu Bortolin in P3. Jeremy Barrault in P4 in the Valkyrie, Osama Kanani in P5, Gagliardini in P6, Jessica Hoffman in P7, Daniel Benefield in P8, Lucas Sida in P9, and Riccardo Trecciani in P10. Now, to give you an idea of how close it behind Vunto it is still, if Jessica Hoffman would take the win here tonight, she could technically still end up in P3 in the championship. So it's still very, very close behind the championship leader. Still all to play for. Of course, those top positions give you a guarantee of maintaining your place in the championship for next season. So Jessica will be hoping to score some good points to make her way up to those places. Of course, Jessica missing out on the first 3 rounds, I think. I'm just going to quickly check my sheet. She missed the first 2 rounds and then changed her car after Portimao. So only 2 rounds with points, but she did score a win at Fuji and 10 points in Spa. So she's been on a good run here. And she could still technically end up in P2. So a lot to play for in hypercar still, even though the championship is all wrapped up in Gabor Pour's favor. It's going to be very, very exciting to see how those guys manage this track here in just a few moments time as their qualifying gets underway as well. There we go in 44 seconds to be exact. That's the BMW M Hybrid of, let me see if we can still get I think it's either Jessica or Benefield. Not too sure. I do know that the Valkyrie is my little brother Rune, who is also competing here, and that's Osama Kanani behind him. So still have some drivers trying to score good points here tonight. Simon, we spoke a bit earlier about before the stream started, and I'm not really sure how familiar you are with the LMU as a game or the cars in the game itself, but what kind of car would you prefer to be in around this track of all those hypercars here on the field?
Well, around this track, it's a pretty hard pick. I would have to say I feel like the Ferrari is quick everywhere. Let's be honest. It's a really good car. They built it well. The Ferrari would not be a bad pick, but I feel like something like Porsche or BMW could be good here. I'm not really familiar with the LMDH cars. I'm more familiar with GTP, so I'm trying to go off of that to just know. But I feel like the BMW and Porsche could be a great pick here, in my opinion.
Yep. So we'll see how those guys, those cars perform. I was right. It is Jessica Hoffman in the BMW M Hybrid leading the pack. As just now we've been joined by Daniel Krylov. Daniel, good evening.
Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Well, we are doing just fine. We just had a nice GT3 qualifying to look out for, and now we're watching the hypercar as if you just joined us. Now, I believe you were supposed to be competing here tonight. Actually, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, there was some minor inconvenience concerning the entry list, which because I had advertised a friend of mine who's also driving right now in the BMW. Here where we see him, he should be somewhere in the back of the pack, Dominic Ziatz. And somehow the organizers forgot to put me inside it. So they put like my friend in because I explicitly mentioned it, and they assumed that I were already into the entry list, which I was not. So yeah, here I am, joining you.
Well, that's a great shame for the race, but it's always nice to have you in the commentary box. Of course, it's been really fun to work with you. As we are on board with Jessica Hoffman, the female racing driver here in the Bronze. She took a win in Fuji 5 weeks ago at this point. Wow, time really flies. And she's trying to continue her good form around Qatar here in the final round of the season. So it did make sense why I was confused a bit earlier on about there being 2 BMWs in the field, but that might have been that friend of yours, Daniel. So hopefully he'll be able to put on a good show as well. Now I'm going to ask you the same question as I did to Simon. Daniel, what kind of car would you pick around this track at this stage?
I mean, I picked the BMW. I don't know if that's. I think the BMW and the Cadillac is quite close here on these tracks. At least in, I think on fixed setups it was the BMW and the Cadillac, which were extremely close. But I think you can be wrong with a Ferrari 499P as well. But for me, I think the choice would be a BMW. It's, I think, the most consistent car about all tracks currently, as well as on Qatar.
Yep, well, one of those drivers who made the choice is Jessica. She's coming up to round her final lap here at the Lusail International Circuit, coming through turn 16. It's looking quite decent at this stage. And on the main straight is a 41.1, so not as quick as we have seen around here, but it's a good lap time nonetheless, as Coleman puts his car in P1 now with a 40.8, so already 2 tenths between those two. Bortolena going quicker still with a 40.3. So Jessica, I think, still left some time on the table here in her first lap. Now, Simon, 3 weeks ago we saw Rune Koolman taking a surprising pole position at Spa in that Valkyrie. How do you think the Valkyrie is able to compete around here in Qatar? It's kind of a different story, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's like really hard to say, but the Valkyrie is not a bad car overall. I feel like what I've seen, the Valkyrie could be a good car in the good hands, which could be every car. As he's now on the lap, he's not really too slow. He seems to be right there with P2, which seems really good with the Valkyrie. But I think the Valkyrie could have like a good chance of overtaking against the other cars, because it should be fast in the straight line, if I'm not mistaken. So, as he goes into the gravel right there, and that's the track limits we've been talking about, and the gravel tracks right at the end of the curbing. But back to the point, which I said as he goes off again, the commentator curse. The Valkyrie could be a good race car. I don't know if it's gonna be a really good quali car. It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, commentator's curse is something that we are all too familiar with, given the Spa race a couple of weeks ago. That was quite insane how that went.
It was Sebring.
Oh, it was Sebring, yeah.
Yeah.
As well,
that was
hopefully,
I mean,
yeah, that was terrible.
It was absolute carnage.
So hopefully not too much of that this time around, as we see Trecciani now going quickest in the Toyota GR Gazoo Racing in 39.6, so very quick already. Kanani in P2 in the Peugeot, and it's Bortolin in P3. Interestingly, Gabopur and Havunto both are not competing tonight, so it seems so. The two championship leaders remain on the points that they have right now. So this could be a chance for Bortolin to overtake Havunto in the standings, although he still needs to drop around, so that would be 4 points, I think, at Spa. So yeah, I'm not really sure if that's possible, so only time will tell. But it is an opportunity for the guys a bit further down the field to score some points and improve their positions potentially on the drivers who are not here tonight. As just guys kind of holding up here, Osama Kanani here, I think, in the Peugeot, second down in sector 2, so not looking all too happy as they're both going through the gravel. Yeah, following one another through the gravel there. That's not what you want to see. As Rune Koolman, I think, had on off as well, because he did have a purple sector 1, but he's now on an outlap. So I think he had a spin somewhere.
But yeah, coming back to what Simon said, I really think that what he said was like quite what is the case now here with the Valkyrie, because I had lots of experience driving here with the BMW or even the Isotta Fraschini around Qatar, and the Valkyries are really the pain to overtake, because you were like in every corner you are really in their gearbox, and all of a sudden when you're on the main straight you're just losing time even in the slipstream. It was really frustrating. So I think the Valkyrie really can be quite great on this track, to be honest, because it's hard to overtake besides turn 1 maybe.
Yeah, we've seen this before as well in other splits, where the Valkyrie, once it gets past you, it is very difficult to overtake, and it's very easy to remain ahead, especially around a track like Qatar, where it is already difficult to overtake, especially if you're in a very high-speed car like the Valkyrie. That makes it even more difficult. So hopefully for Rune, he'll be able to put in a good qualifying lap. I know that's not a strong point, so let's see how that works out for him, as Jessica is on another flying lap here as well. It's a good sector 1 though, coming through sector 2 in here as well. Will it be enough to close the gap a little bit to Trecciani? Oh, Gabapur is competing. That maybe I'll get my eyes checked. Gabapur is here in P3 at the moment, so the championship leader is still competing in the final round. Not really sure how I missed that, but I missed it. So there we go. In the very well-known Ferrari 499P that he's been driving. Oh, Kanani going off track there. Coming through the gravel. So that's his qualifying run done, I think. I don't think he will be able to get another lap on the board. Oh, he might be, actually. Yeah, I think he will be.
Yeah, it's gonna be close, but it seems like Tresane has this closed up disqual session. I feel like, yeah, he put in OS as Ferrari goes off. I think I might be cursed here. But as soon as I start to speak, someone goes off in the high speeds. But
you will say that that is something that happens a lot here at the VMS, so don't worry about it.
Personally to you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not cursed. It's VMS that's cursed.
Yeah. It's just a commentator in general. If you have the commentator role in this series, I think you're just being cursed by a witch.
Unfortunately for the drivers, that is very true. Yes. Yeah. So I think, as you said, Trecciani just got a lap done very nice and early, and not really looking like anyone is able to get anywhere near that 39.4, over half a second clear with Osama Kanani in P2. So that Peugeot is still ahead of multiple Ferraris, which is very surprising to me, to be honest. I didn't think there would be a good car around here. But apparently it is, so that's a good drive by Osama Kanani, who is now up into P2. Jessica Hoffman once again in that sector 2, losing a heap of time there, so really not looking happy through that sector there. Osama Kanani also not a good sector 1 for him, almost half a second down. Maybe he's able to make up some time in sectors 2 and 3, but I doubt it will be enough to close the gap more to the Toyota. It's Dominic Siats. That's Siats.
That is Dominic Siats. Yeah.
There you go. So P5 on debut so far. That's not too bad. That's very nice in the BMW. Or do you think you would have hoped for a bit more?
I mean, I was practicing with him right now, so I think he already told me before I've gone like into the commentary booth. He was telling me like qualifying is going to be absolute garbage. He thought, but I think it went quite well for him. I don't think he was expecting any more than this, to be honest. But on his debut, I think that's quite impressive as well.
No, fair enough. P5 is very nice indeed, as we just saw Osama Kanani going off track on his final run, and now as well in the final corner. So he was on a good lap though. It was a good sector 2, but he failed to capitalize on it, and it is P2 for him. Over half a second down on Trecciani, so a great lap by him. And the Toyota driver takes pole position here for the final round of the VMS Bronze Split here in Qatar. So let's take a look then in a few moments' time to the starting grid of this race. as we get the final round of the bronze split underway in a couple of minutes' time. There we go for LMGT3. It is Kevin Bauer who is on pole position with a 56.3, 8/10 clear of Manuel Fuchs in P2. Manuel Fuchs, championship leader, of course. Alex Stepman in P3, very nice by him. Alexander Radošević surprisingly in P4. I think that's his best qualifying of the season. Fabian Roth in P5, the rival of Fuchs, so he has some places to make up there. Maurice de Rauder in P6, Fabian Wenger P7, Giovanni Filiberti in P8, and Corey Jason in P9. Not really able to put a good lap time on the board there. And in Hypercar, it is Ricciardo Trecciani who takes the final pole position of the year with a 39.4. Oussama Kani right beside him on the grid in the Peugeot, with Gabor, the champion of this season, in P3. It is Mattia Bortolin in P4, Dominic Siatz in P5 on his debut, Rune Coleman in P6 in the Valkyrie, Jessica Hoffman P7, and Alessandro Sterle rounds up the grid in Hypercar for the final race of the season here at the Bronze Split. So, Simon, we just had the qualifying session done. What kind of are your expectations for this race here? Are you feeling incident rich, or is everybody going to keep it clean?
Well, the grid doesn't seem that close, is it? Like, from second to fourth, it's really close. At least in quali, there's a lot of mistakes that can be done. We were talking about the track limits. It's really easy to go over here. Someone might be hiding some bit more pace that can challenge for the win, but Ricciardo Trecciani looks like he's gonna have it under his thumb, isn't it? It's like 5/10 of pole, and yeah, it seems like he's gonna have it under his thumb here in Qatar, but everything can happen. It's a motorsport, so we'll see. I'll be happy to see some action.
Yep, anything can happen in motorsports. That's very, very true. It isn't over till it's over, so we'll see how it goes for these drivers as we are making our way to the start of this race. It's going to be a daytime race for a change here in Qatar, and we should be getting this race underway in a few moments' time. I think we'll see them. There we go, coming through the final corner, and Trecciani leading the pack there for the final time this year. A lot of Fisher Racing esports teams drivers in the GT3 field, so basically all of them. No surprise there as we go racing here in Qatar for the final round of the VMS Bronze Split. It's green here in Qatar. Trecciani leading the pack with Kanani in P2, Gabor in P3. And it's 3 wide almost there in the back. And 3 wide coming into turn 1, maybe? No. Dive bomb by Siatz in the background. 3 wide going to turn 1. Yeah, Kanani on the outside of Trecciani into turn 1. He's still there for turn 2. Can he take the lead? Yes, he can. It seems like it's a great move by Kanani, who gets his Peugeot in P1. Trecciani down into P2 now with Gabor still in P3. It's Bortolin up into P4, and Hoffman has made a great start in P5 right now. So her making a dive bomb on Siatz, I think, in the first corner. Fabio Fuchs has taken the lead in LMGT3 as well. Bauer now in P2 and Radošević in P3. So someone had I think it was Strapman there for P3. That is back into P4 now. And that's Bortolin now in P8 in the hypercar. So I think he had a spin with another driver. So he's all the way behind the GT3 field right now. That's not what he would have hoped for. Not a great first lap by him, but it's Kanani who's taking the lead here in the first lap of this race. Still seemingly all drivers in one piece for now. A lot cleaner than the Platinum Split, that is for sure. We had a massive crash there a couple of weeks ago, for those of you who saw it. But we're still in one piece. And Trecciani is looking like he wants to get by rather quickly, Simon.
Yeah, he wants to get past quickly. I think he knows he has more pace, at least from quali. He thinks it. I don't know, the Peugeot should be a really quick car in the straight line. We were talking about the Valkyrie, but the Peugeot is still a really fast car in the straight line. The first LMDH that was introduced was even without the rear wing. So it's just a rocket on the straight. So the Toyota, as a high downforce car, I think it is, will have a lot of problem finding some even overtaking place that he can go off. it's gonna be really hard for him to get past here. But I think he can just nip it through somewhere, maybe into turn 1, but dive bombs are really not an option here.
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky for Triciani to get this done. Oh, maybe here, though. He's looking very close to the Peugeot right in front of him. But as I say, it is kind of a rocket ship, that French car, even with the rear wing, this version is. But Triciani not that close enough as we speak. There we go. That is the Fischer Racing Team train that's going on in LMGT3. I did see that we had Cedric Fischer in the chat commenting, I like this view with a smiley, and I would imagine that he does, yes. I think this will be great for him, seeing all his cars. Oh, and as I say that, they're spinning each other. That's Bauer going round in the gravel, and that's team-on-team contact. That's not what you want. Rule number 1 in racing, don't hit your teammate. And that's what they did, and it's an Aston Martin going around as well. That's Filiberti. So multiple Fischer Racing Team drivers hitting each other there as we look at the replay. Oh, that's Radošević, I think, hitting Bauer on the side, and the Porsche just spinning around. Daniel, that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, no. So Simon, that's your proof that it's not personal with the competitor cars. We're just talking about Fischer and how great it is to have all of these 5 cars in the top 5, and suddenly they are not. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, I think at Qatar it's always hard to really race with each other through those fast corners going side by side. It's always easy to force or to get some unfortunate contacts, which most of the time results in like a spin or something. But the fortunate thing about a circuit is that the barriers are well far off, so you are really rarely experiencing some suspension damage by hitting a wall, because you have these massive gravel traps and really runoffs that are like really large, given that it's a motorcycle circuit primarily. So yeah, but it's unfortunate for the team, of course, and nothing anyone of the team wants to see, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that the barriers are so far away from the track itself that Bauer is able to just continue on his own. I would imagine that his tires are a bit cooked after that, even more than usual.
Yeah.
As Simon and I were talking about earlier on, this trick on its own is very hard on the tires, but especially with the spin like that, I don't think he'll be too happy to stay on those. But he kind of has to for now. At least he'll make his pit stop, as we see Knani going wide there just a little bit on the exit of that corner, turn 15. And Triciani is looking very quick here indeed. He wants to get this move done. So let's see how good the top speed of the Toyota is on the back straight here. And the pit lane on your right, the right side here of the road. But Triciani looking very quick. Knani goes defensive. Triciani going down the inside underway. That's very nice fighting, and Triciani gets the move done, I think, on the inside of turn 1. Yep, he gets his Toyota past, and Knani is back at the P2. And what is he though? Still side by side into turn 2. Well, a bit of wheel banging going on there. Not giving each other a lot of room to work with, but it's Triciani up into P1 once again. That Toyota really flying around here, and he gets the move done rather nicely on Usama Knani.
Yeah, and this was a really great move. The Peugeot went wide into the gravel trap. As I was talking again, the track limits. He just went into the gravel trap with 2 wheels, just touching it a little bit. And there was the chance for the Toyota on the pit straight, as I said. Really nice fighting between those two.
Yep, and luckily both of them still driving without any damage, it seems like. So we have a new leader then, with 7 minutes done in this race. Triciani is once again back at the front as Radošević goes wide there through turns 2 and loses another place up into now down to P3, I think, as he gets overtaken again by Stratman in the Lexus. And the Ferrari driver not looking all that happy at the moment, of course, having contact early on with his teammate Bauer in the middle of the track. There's Bauer. He is up at the P6 already, so he has passed Maurice de Ruyter and Corey Jason already. He is looking quick though in that Porsche. Remember, he did take pole position, so he has a lot of pace in the Porsche 992, it seems like. The question is, how much of that is he able to extract in the next 53 minutes? There's still a long old way to go here. But, well, as we see multiple cars going off track once again, there's still a long way to go off track as well. And with the luck that we three had with commentators' curses, I'm not really counting anything out here tonight. But we're back up to P6 already, and Tracciani really, well, he's putting some the gas down. He's already 1.4 seconds clear of Kanani, so really being held up there by the Peugeot driver. So, Daniel, do you think Kanani is able to keep the Ferrari and the BMWs behind him near the end of the race, or is he going to have to work for it a bit more?
That's going to be, I think, extremely tough for Kanani. I mean, from now on, I can't really tell, but it really looks like Kanani is going to be on his back foot for like the entire race for now, because he has no one to get slipstream from in front of him, and every car behind him is really getting this slipstream from him. But as Simon as well mentioned, the Peugeot is extremely great on top speed and really hard to overtake. As we see an overtake by I think it's Radaskovic on Fabian Roth, and the Corvette on the outside from Roth.
I think that's Roth overtaking.
I think the Ferrari is Radaskovic, I think.
Yeah, he's in front.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I think about the curse.
Yep, that is the Lexus of the Corvette of Fabian Roth coming through on the Ferrari of Radošević. So Radošević losing multiple places. And now, as we say, that Fabian Roth going off track, and it's Radošević down the inside again. These two trading places right here. It's costing them both of them a lot of time. I would feel like, but Radošević still now down in P4. So once again losing some more places. Not really looking happy here tonight in that Ferrari. That's an interesting choice, though, Simon. I guess it's to give this one to Daniel. The Ferrari GT3, it's an interesting choice. It's not really the fastest GT3 in this game, I feel like.
No.
Yeah, it definitely isn't the fastest. It's really not gonna be fast at Qatar, is it? So, yeah. Which leads to my question, which I would like to ask. We were talking about what cars would you pick in hypercar. What car would you pick in GT3, guys? Because I'm really curious. What would you say?
I'll let you go first on that one, Daniel.
I don't care. I suck at GT3s. But if I would, I think I would go with. I mean, I've been quite confident with the Aston Martin and the Mustang. Or Lamborghini, as our broadcaster is pointing out. I think I would go with the Aston Martin. Probably.
I think Matt has a bit of a preference for the Lamborghini,
yeah.
so yeah.
Better Italian.
Yeah, I believe our lovely broadcaster Omet, who just spoke into our ears, she actually competed in the 24-hour at Le Mans, at the LMU race they did last weekend. And she did it solo, the full 24 hours, and she actually won her split as well in the Lamborghini Huracan. So please do give her some love in the YouTube chat. She did amazing there. That's great stuff. Meanwhile, P2 in hypercar going through Gaboport, maybe. The Ferrari looking quick though, and the Peugeot falling back a little bit. That's Gaboport up into P2. Kanani not looking all that happy. Around the outside though. Not able to make it stick through the gravel. Oh! Massive contact!
Here we go.
There is the car that we promised. That was Kanani hitting Hoffman.
Oh no,
That's the Valkyrie of Coleman in front, and P5 that is, Gaboport on the outside. So Rune Coleman fighting with the champion of this year, and he's up into P4, just behind Kanani. almost losing the rear there. Great stuff as we go on board with Seats, that is.
Yeah, I hope we don't see the occasional Seats moments here, because he tends to have some moments in situations like these, but I hope he just he managed to keep his head calm. Oh my dear God!
How did no one die from this?
Yeah. How he had like this DW on the outside with 3 wide before the fast right-hander.
Yeah, how no one died, I'm not really sure. That's very close stuff. As you see more gravel being thrown up there by multiple cars. Kanani on the outside now, Hoffman through the final corner. Not a place you see a move done usually. It's 3 wide on the back straight. Coleman on the inside of Kanani and Hoffman for
Now we see
P2 in the race. There we go.
Capitalizing his top speed.
Yeah, that's the Valkyrie top speed for you that we mentioned before. And it's good to see Coleman up into P2. I think it does. Kanani and Hoffman making huge contact there on the inside. Oh, the spin!
And that was bound to happen, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. Oh, and
I think it's a DNF.
Yeah.
That's a DNF for Kanani.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
as
well-
I was saying, Riccardo Trasane absolutely pulled away. He definitely made the most out of this, whatever this mess was. Like, it was really close racing, and I was surprised they didn't crash earlier. But only one car basically out of this race in the hypercar, which is surprising to how close they were racing. But yeah, Riccardo Trasane has this like done almost. If he doesn't make any mistake, he's just gonna pull away absolutely more and maybe even get that pit stop gap. But let's not go that far.
Well, now that you've mentioned him, he will make a mistake probably. That is how bad Curtis is.
Yeah.
So that gap of 8 seconds, it's a long old gap at this point, and I think you might be right. But let's wait till the end of this race to see who wins this. But with all that mess, it's now Rune Coleman up into P2 in the Valkyrie, which is very surprising. And how no one else died there is a big mystery to all of us here.
Yeah.
It's Gabopur in P3 in the Ferrari 499P, and it's the 2 BMW for Fiat and Hoffman in P4 and P5. So Kanani losing out big time there, and it's a DNF for him in the final round of the season. That's gotta hurt for him. Kanani in P5 in the standing, so he wasn't in any contention, of course. But it does mean that he will not improve on those standings, and I think that's out of the promotion pond at least for to the silver split. So I don't think he'll be too happy with that. But still a good finishing position for him in P5. So still a good result in those standings. It's heading up the road 8 seconds clear of the Valkyrie. Now, Daniel, you've driven a lot of races. Is this the point where you just try and relax yourself a little bit, or do you want to try and extend that gap?
I think it's not really big of a difference if you're leading by 7 seconds or like 1 second in terms of your driving style and everything. I think you're trying to get the most of it out of your car at any point of the race, because if you're not, the 7 second gap will most likely be reduced to a few tenths again. But I think you're going to drive your car a bit relaxed, so you're going to really concentrate fully onto the driving and not having to look into your rear mirror and trying to defend from possible dive bomb or a possible move into turn 1. So you have a bit more relaxed type of driving, I think. Yeah.
So,
but in terms of pace, I think it's not big of a difference, to be honest.
No, fair enough. I think one driver who is not relaxing is Dominic Siatz, who is being hunted down by Jessica Hoffman. Same can be said for Manuel Fuchs, who's leading the LM GT3. There we see Dominic Siatz, the leading BMW of the two. Only 2 tenths between him and Jessica Hoffman down the inside. Jessica going for potential move, taking a look at least. A bit too far back at this stage, but Jessica showing a bit more pace in that M hybrid BMW. Trying to be the lead BMW on the road here tonight. They do run the same livery, but they're not teammates at all, I think. So no team orders whatsoever here. It's everyone for themselves. Hoffman trying to get the move done as quickly as she can. Those of you who don't know, Jessica Hoffman is the first woman victor in the VMS series, I think altogether. Not really sure how it goes for the other seasons, but at least this season she's the one and only female winner around here. So it's always nice to see her competing around here. Sias makes a mistake there. Oh, very close between the two. Into turn 10. Almost hitting the rear of the... Yeah, I think
that's
probably...
that's the thing Dominic does quite frequently. I mean, if he knows he's going to mess the corner up, he's trying everything he can to really park his car on the exit. it's quite efficient, to be honest, but I'm getting furious if I'm driving with him when occasionally when he does that. But it's quite effective, so I can't blame him.
I can imagine that would be very frustrating, Simon. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's very frustrating as Jessica gets a run on him, and now they're side by side going into turn 1. Now, who's gonna be ahead after this corner, maybe after 3 corners? Jessica goes around the outside and climbs it pretty comfortably. Really nice overtake there.
Yeah, nice move.
Dominic, I think Dominic is not really that much of a late breaker as a person himself. No go on.
He knew the move was done, and that's him into P5 and Hoffman now in P4. It's 4 seconds between her and Gaboupour, so there's a bit of a gap. Now, of course, there's still 42 minutes left to go in this race, so still plenty of time for her to make up some time. As Coleman is also putting a bit of a gap on Gaboupour there, 1.4 seconds. Now, as I've said that, he will probably crash in the next lap, but that's a whole different story. But the gaps are a bit evolving in this race, growing just a little bit. China is still comfortably in the lead after that whole hectic mess that we saw about 5 minutes ago. Let's take a quick look at LM GT3 then for a moment. It is still Manuel Fuchs who's leading, just 0.3 ahead of Alex Stratman in P2. Stratman is P6 in the standings. And going right there again. P6 in the standings. Took 2 podiums already this season. He's a bit of an outsider in this championship. It's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Fischer Racing Team guys here. Very competitive. Bauer is already up into P4 again with Radošević on P5. Not really looking happy out there. And as you see of Manuel Fuchs, he's leading the race. He's leading the championship. Is it already a bit too early to call him to call this with it all being teammates, Daniel, or do you think the papaya rules don't really count for them?
I think we had some of them into the in the interview, and we asked, I think, quite a similar question, and their response was that they're ready to race whenever one of them wants to, but yeah, at some point they're going to do team orders if one is way off and has is not into contention into doing everything, as we see Radošević at P5 going to the gravel trap. But I think it's not going to be necessarily in a lot of team orders applied to this race.
No, I wouldn't imagine so. I think that would be quite frustrating, though, Simon. If you're behind someone who is a bit slower than you, but it is your teammate, you don't really want to take any risks. I feel like.
Well, depends on the place of my championship. When I race, I mean, I would totally go for it, even if it's my teammate. It really depends on the championship situation. If I was leading the championship by a comfortable amount of points, definitely I wouldn't go for that. If my teammate was leading the championship, I wouldn't go for that. But if there's some championship fight and my teammate just not wants to let me by, or at least make it easier for me, well, then I would absolutely send it. It's easy as that, and I think I have a bit different mentality to everyone. I wouldn't really care if it's my teammate if I have a lot to fight for, but as soon as the situation is not that heated, I'm not gonna go for it. I'm gonna make my nose way further from my teammate, so I don't crash him out, exactly as you said.
No, fair enough. I think that would be a good choice if you want to keep your seat in that racing team for a longer period. But yeah, I think with the current standings and the current standings, as it currently stands in this race, I don't imagine anyone will be taking enormous risks here tonight with Fuchs leading both this race and the championship standings. So we'll see how all that plays out in the next 38 minutes and 15 seconds of this race. It is still Tricciani leading the way, 10.5 seconds at this point already. So that Toyota really flying around here. I haven't really seen him put a foot wrong all race long at this so far. Now Hoffman is catching up just a little bit to Gabelpour. It used to be at 4 seconds, now just under 3 seconds. So she could still very much be on for a podium here later on in this race, depending on how the Ferrari of Gabelpour performs. Well, going through the gravel like that doesn't help. They're all just kind of settling it in at this stage and trying to find their rhythm. I did just see Mr. and Mrs. Fisher in the YouTube chat saying no papaya rules in our team with a smiley. So I think they're indeed free to race in a sense. As Gabelpour are quite close to Common. I think Rune had an off somewhere. Only 3/10 between the two. Gabelpour and the Ferrari might be trying to go for a move then. I think Rune might have had a lock-up into turn 1, I think, with the Valkyrie. It's quite close now. But of course, as we mentioned earlier, the Valkyrie very quick on top speed, so it's very difficult to actually get past that car. You saw something similar at Spa a couple of weeks ago, where Barrault, I think it was second or leading. Check on that actually. I think he won. Yes, he did win. Just making his car as wide as he could, and with top speed being very difficult to overtake, sliding the rear there through turn 8. Gabelpour is hunting him down just a little bit more here. Now that's got to be stressful, Simon, driving somewhere and knowing that there's a car behind you who's a bit quicker than you.
Yeah, you just have to be as fast as you can through the corners without making a mistake, and you know if you're gonna have a good exit in these last 2 turns, which is the GT3 just not helping there. I think the Ferrari might get a run actually, but if you get a good exit right here in this corner, which is really easy to go wide, and with the Valkyrie, the Ferrari won't be able to overtake, and I think he realized that as he pits and maybe tries the undercut on the Valkyrie there.
Yeah, he does go for the pit lane, so it's Gabelpour, the first one to pit in this race. I think got held up quite massively by the LMGT3 traffic coming into the final corner, so losing out some time and now trying to go for the undercut. You're not really able to save on making a pit stop. You really do have to make a pit stop around here. But you can still save quite a lot of time with those pit stops and saving fuel, Daniel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every liter here really counts well. Every percent of virtual energy counts as well. I don't think you can complete this race without stopping at all, because this will, I think, completely mess up with your pace entirely, because you will not gain as much time, or will even be close to gaining as much time by not pitting, and therefore driving slower, braking less, driving generally lift and coast. I think it's well known that you lift before a corner to reduce your time. You're being on the throttle and on the brake pedal as well. I don't think it's really necessary to do that in this race, because you will lose out in the end. But by reducing your fuel consumption, you can reduce your pit limit time as well, and that could be a great opportunity to save some time during the pit stop phase.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, it's not really possible to not make a pit stop at all. I think some GT3 cars get close to it, but it's still a bit too far out to actually complete the race without making a pit stop. So don't be surprised to see GT3 cars going to very late into this race, like the last couple of minutes around here. But the hypercars will be in just a little bit earlier, given how much they consume a bit more fuel. Their fuel tank is a bit smaller compared to the LM GT3, so we'll see a bit more strategy compared to that. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the final half an hour of this race. Still 33 minutes to go, so we're not even halfway yet. And it really feels like the whole field has settled in just a little bit around here. As we see, as well, we're on the outside of Stadtmann, I think it is. Yeah, trying to get back in P2. So we're already up into P3 again after that contact with Radošević a bit earlier on in this race. So great recovery drive by him. And the Porsche are really looking quick around here. The hands of Kevin Bauer. Now that could be interesting though for the end of this race and the championship potentially. With if Bauer would take the win here, of course Fuchs would get down into P2 then. But Fabian Roth still has to make up a lot of points. Yeah, so I don't know. Bauer could play a bit of a role there, but I think Manuel Fuchs kind of has the major advantage of 9 points ahead of Fabian Roth. So I don't think that will be a great how do you say that, issue for Manuel Fuchs come the end of this race. Saying that Bauer is already in P2, so he is trying to get back out into the lead of this. So Simon, Kevin Bauer really seems to be the man to beat here in GT3.
Again?
That Kevin Bauer, the current number 2 in the Porsche, he really seems to be the driver to beat around this track here.
Yeah, he really seems to be really fast here. Fuchs is making it harder for him, isn't it? But it's really close in the GT3. There's 4 cars in, like, it's barely a second. And yeah, it's gonna be hard to win in this GT3 class if it stays like this. But definitely Bauer is like one of the fastest, if not the fastest right here. So yeah, really close racing as the Porsche sniffs the gearbox of the BMW, but it's just not close enough. Oh, the switchback. Do we get the switchback? We don't. Maybe a little bit dive bomb here. No, that's not really smart there. But as we were talking about the cars, the Porsche can be really good if it's in good hands. It's really tricky to drive the Porsche, isn't it? But against the BMW, which should be pretty easy to drive from my IMSA experience at least. So if Bauer just gets right everything, he will be easily able to overtake into turn 1 or any other overtaking spot that's here.
Yeah, he's really looking comfortable in that Porsche 992 number 72 Fischer Racing team. Kind of interesting to note though is that Bauer, every time he has finished a race, he has won it. So that's kind of interesting to note. So either he DNFs, doesn't start, or he wins the race. So he's on 50 points exactly, taking 2 wins, and hasn't scored in any other round. So can he take 3 for 3? Well, we'll find out in a short time as we see Jessica Hoffman in the pit lane. So that's the second hypercar to make a pit stop here in this race. That moves Siat up into P3. That is Gabor though. Will he come out ahead of Jessica? Yes, I think he will. There he goes past her. So that's poor.
Sterle as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Sterle into P6. Also ahead of Jessica Hoffman. So Jessica losing out on a couple of places there. Maybe it could be because of both Or and Sterle not changing their tires, and Jessica did change those tires. But I spoke about it with Simon early on. But Daniel, do you think that that's a viable strategy, just not changing your left tires in this race?
I mean, it could be, but I think that would require you to start your race on a hard on the left front, because I think it's going to be pretty horrible driving a medium for 1 hour in pretty hot conditions on Qatar. And I think, yeah, everyone has this strategy apart from Gabor, as we're being just shown here on the left-hand side. I mean, I think it may be possible, yeah, because with the hard tire, the degradation, of course, is going to be less. And in these hot conditions, it's not really making that big of a difference if you are pace-wise, if you're having a medium tire or a hard tire. But yeah, I think with the hard tire, it may well be a good alternative option to not change your tires at all.
Yes, it's interesting that Gabor is on a full set of mediums. So kind of curious to see if he changed all 4 of those tires in the pit stop and has just been flying last time. Oh, that's BMW going around. I think that's Hoffman, I think, who had a spin in the final corner. Let's see, it's still... Yeah, it is Jessica Hoffman. So losing some time in the final corner, having a spin there, and now 10 seconds behind Alessandro Sturla. So not really happy goings for her in this race so far. A bit of a wiggle there through turn 1. So those tires not really working to their fullest at this stage. But she's hoping to climb up and make up some time in the next 27 minutes. This guy, however, is still just cruising on in that Toyota at 15 seconds clear of the Valkyrie of René Koolman, who is on his behalf 10 seconds clear of Siats in P3. Of course, the top 4 is yet to take a pit stop in this race, so those gaps will change and those positions will change, of course, come the end of it. It's going to be interesting to see where Gabor ends up after all this on a potentially different strategy to the rest of these drivers. So I think he's going a bit more aggressive with 2 full sets of mediums, whereas the other drivers are only changing the three tires, or just the right-hand side I can't speak anymore. The right-hand side tires of the car. It's been a long season for me as well. Let's just put it like that. As we are 26 minutes to go. Just trying to work out a little bit on how the final standings will work out, but it's looking seemingly that Tachina could potentially take his first victory of the season here. Second podium. He did take P2 in Fuji over a month ago at this point, but he didn't compete in Bahrain, Sebring, and Portimao, which means he's in P10 at the stage in the standings. So he might be a little bit sad about that. He could have potentially ended up a little bit higher had he competed in the other rounds as well. But a potential win in the final race would, of course, mean a lot to him. But we can only wait and see, of course, if it comes to fruition. See Alessandro Sturla dropping that back just a little bit. I think it's he's dropped back about 3 seconds already on Gabor, so also not really the happiest guy out on track. Yeah, we did see it. We didn't really speak about it, Simon. But Bauer now up into the lead and 3 seconds clear already of Manuel Fuchs. So he has taken the lead again in that Porsche. He is really going for it.
Yeah, he definitely is going for it. And as I said, the Porsche is a tricky car to drive. But as soon as you get it into the right hands, as soon as you give it to the right driver, he's just gonna be away. Now, you can see it. There's a living proof of Bauer. As you said, he was the fastest guy. I maybe doubted him a bit, but he's the fastest guy. It definitely seems like it. And he seems to checked off from everyone and is on a good course to win this race.
Yeah, for sure. He's now almost 4 seconds already. So he's looking very, very quick indeed. Now, this is an interesting battle, though. Manuel Fuchs in P2 and Fabian Roth, his nearest rival in the championship, is just behind him. And this is a change of about 7. This is 3 points, so between P2 and P3. So that would mean that Fabian Roth, if he manages to overtake him, the gap will only be 6 points. But crucially, if anything were to happen to Kevin Bauer, and Fabian Roth is able to overtake him as well, then it would mean that Fabian Roth becomes champion here tonight. So it's still very much in the favor of Manuel Fuchs here tonight in GT3, but it's not over just yet. And Fabian Roth is looking quite quick here in that Corvette. A bit surprising, to be honest, but he is looking quick. So, as we said, it's not over till it's over, especially in motor racing. But it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds between those two. I still think that Fuchs looks very comfortable in that BMW, and I think he will be able to clinch the title, but it's a bit closer than he might have hoped for, I feel like. Have you been in any positions of being able to win a championship like this, Simon?
I've never really won in any series, a championship. but I did get close 2 times. It wasn't really close like the championship battle we are having anywhere, but I did win the penultimate round of one F1 league, and I was in for the championship, but the guy who was leading it had to DNF, so I didn't win it. I finished second behind him, which was still a pretty good result. I did get paid for the result, so I was happy. And the first time I fighted for championship, I unfortunately got taken out with 2 rounds remaining in one race, and I didn't have time to recover for my championship. I never led a championship, I think. So, yeah, I've been in some championship battles, but it just wasn't close enough.
Have you been in any championship winning situations, Daniel?
Let me think. No. No.
Oh, sorry,
I
very
think-
quick think.
Yeah, no. I think I rarely participated in any leagues at all. My sim racing career in like competitive environments is not as long. I tend to just send it in dailies or some team or weekly events. I did participate in some leagues, like in ACC and AMS2, but I think LMU. My debut in the season was like in the series was last week in silver.
Yeah,
But
you were
apart from that,
competing
no.
in that, yes.
Yeah.
That's,
Finish
If I can go back to the question, have you finished?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. If I can go back to the question, I never fought for a drivers' championship. I did fight for a team championship a lot of times because I was racing for a, let's say, amateur esport team, you could say, in F1. And I did fight for the constructors' championship, and I did win like 3 rounds in a row. There was no drivers' championship back then, but I would have had a good shot at the championship if there was, but there wasn't. But I won the team championship at the very least.
That's a shame that there wasn't a drivers' championship. So you'll be the champion in our spirit, in our minds. You are the champion. That's but I mean, you guys have done a lot more league racing than I ever did. So that's that. Let's just say there's a reason I'm doing the commentary, not the driving. That's I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Well, I've been doing both since I started, so it's not an excuse, mate.
No, that is true. That is true. I did win a 6-hour at Fuji with my brother, who is driving here last year, and I did do endurance rounds. So we did a 10-hour in Daytona as well, and we did a 12-hour at Le Mans in GTE. That was in the Ferrari GTE as well at some point. So we've done a lot of endurance racing together. We haven't really won all that much, but we did win the Fuji race last year in a hypercar on a Santa Corsa, I think it was, which was great. But it's that's pretty much it for me on the competitive league side. But that's why I have you two in the booth here. I need some more competitive drivers in here as well, to make up for my lack of driving experience, so to speak.
Yeah, well, if we go back to endurance races, I did win the Watkins Glen 6 hours. I think it was like 5th split in iRacing, and we started last because we invalidated both of our laps. So we did essentially do last to first, and we won like by 2 minutes. I don't know if it was like maybe we got placed into lower split or something, or we were that good, but the car was on rails at the end of the race, and I really like that win. I like to keep it in my mind, and I like to remember it every once in a while I get on a track.
Just say that you were that good. That makes it a bit more sweet for yourself.
Okay, I won't be humble. I was that good.
Anyway, let's focus a bit more on the race again. 18 minutes left to go, so I'm expecting a bit more hypercars coming into the pit lane in a few moments' time. It's still Riccardo Trecciani leading this race in the Toyota after overtaking Osama Kanani half an hour at this point ago, I think. It is still Rune Koolman in the Valkyrie in P2 with Bortalen in P3. Gabopur is the first of the drivers having made his pit stop in P4, with Siats in P5 on debut in the BMW M Hybrid. Then we have Jessica Hoffman in P6 and Alessandro Sterle in P7. And Osama Kanani, unfortunately, DNFing after some major contact with, I think it was Hoffman, into turn 1 a long while back at this point. So he won't be happy with that's how his season ended, unfortunately. In LMGT3, it's Kevin Bauer leading by over 6 seconds already. He has been flying all race. He got spun out at the second lap, I think, by Radošević, who has DNF'd as well, unfortunately for him, in the Ferrari. And he has made his way up the lead very impressively, I have to say, in that Porsche 992. It is Manuel Fuchs, the championship leader in P2, followed by Fabian Roth, who is P2 in the championship in P3. Fabian Wenger in P4, Filiberti P5, De Ruyter P6, Jason in P7, although he is 70 seconds back on De Ruyter, and Stadman is 4 laps down as well. So there might have been a bit of contact between those two drivers. I feel like both of them a long way down the order in LMGT3. So the last really competitive driver is De Ruyter in P6. Not really sure what happened to Radošević, but I think that might have been contact as well with someone. I'm not really sure what happened there. He's been Daniel. We've seen Radošević competing in all races pretty much. It's been an up and down season for him, I think. He's shown some great pace, but he's not really had the results.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty young too. Like, to be fair with him, he's pretty young. He's still learning a lot. But yeah, it's been. I mean, I think he competed in Silver and Monza one time, and it was like not really the best experience from his side. I think he finished outside the points, if he even finished at all. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Yeah, it's been up and down, but overall I think he can take lots and loads of positive aspects from the season, because he competed in every race. He tried to give his best in every race, and I think that's something you can build on and be proud of for the next season, I think.
Yeah, agreed. He did score 10 points this season in Portimao, so that's a good result for him, and a single point in Fuji 2 weeks after that. So he's been there and thereabouts. His pace just hasn't really been there, but like you mentioned, I think he is 16 at this point, so I think he's the youngest driver in the field, and already competing on quite a high level. So like you say, the only thing he can do is learn and improve on his skills, and which I'm sure he will do. As the leader, Trecciani is in the pit lane, which moves Rune Koolman in the Valkyrie up into the lead of this race. And I would imagine Trecciani coming out of the pit lane ahead again when the Valkyrie makes his pit stop. But I think I'm just gonna screenshot this and print it out and hang it above his bed because he's in the lead by 17 seconds. So
Total domination.
Exactly. That's he is the greatest driver alive. Yeah, Max Verstappen, who are you?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, this is the best season finale we have this weekend. I think it's pretty clear.
This is the only season finale. There's nothing else. Yeah.
True.
Like the only important thing that you have to watch this weekend is the final race of the Platinum Split on Sunday. It's Interlagos actually, which is a great track.
Especially for season finales.
Yeah, especially for season finale. So pretty much the only thing you guys at home have to worry about this Sunday is watching the Platinum Split Interlagos season finale here at the VMS. It's still quite a few drivers in it, to be honest. I think the top 3 is still in it. 15 points between those guys. So everything to play for. And I think that it's pretty much done in LMGT3. But the hypercar is going to be very spicy in the Platinum Split at Interlagos. So make sure to tune in for that as well this Sunday. The only important thing you need to watch that day.
Don't bother what's going to be at 2 p.m. Central European time at your local motorsport. broadcaster, just tune in at, I think it's 7 p.m., 7:20 p.m. Central European time to watch some VMS, because there's nothing else this weekend in terms of racing. Saying this, I just bought a 50 to 70 centimeter poster of Max Verstappen. But yeah, there's nothing this weekend.
Well, you have to sell it better. You know, you can watch the Abu Dhabi F1, and if you're disappointed by that, you can watch the VMS race after, and maybe be happy about that.
It's a win-win situation. If your favorite driver, who is most likely, I think, Max Verstappen, I just go to assume that, doesn't win the World Driver Championship, which I'm not believing at any part, you can always tune in for the VMS, you know, and if he wins, you're happy and can tune in for the VMS as well. So it's a win-win situation. You this day can't end on a loss or on a bad experience at all.
I couldn't have put it any better. And speaking of Dutch drivers performing well, Gunnar Koolman has come out of the pit lane 7 seconds ahead of Gabo Poor. So this could very well mean a podium for him in the Valkyrie. If he manages to keep it on the road, he's almost 7 seconds ahead. He's 15 seconds behind Reggiani. No surprises there, of course. Bortolin is still to make his pit stop, so he'll come out behind Coleman. I think just ahead of Gabo Poor, if I'm not mistaken, with the pit stop length. But a great drive, to be honest, by Rune. Of course, I'm a bit biased, but he's been driving phenomenally this race. Started in P7. Now up to net P2, which is very, very nice. He'll be happy with that. It is still Gabo Poor in an... Go ahead.
I don't think you're biased at all, Sver. I think that's a good drive from Coleman there. He definitely did the work for it, came from P7, survived that chaos, whatever that was, and made it to P2. I think that's a great performance, even for the Valkyrie. He's been making the most out of it on the straight, which you have to do in that Valkyrie, and then just keep it on the track in the corners. And that's what you have to essentially do, which is much harder than the other cars. So yeah, it's been a great race from him, and I don't think you're biased at all. It really is a good thing to watch.
I think he'll appreciate that coming from you too.
It's not only Brown that you're showing here.
That
you're
is
actually
true.
saying some valid facts for once.
Kind of like that's my job here.
Yeah.
Who would have
I
thought?
haven't seen much of this.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Something about cake at 2 in the morning?
At 2 in the morning, yeah. What's the alternative to this? Can you tell me?
No, for legal reasons I cannot. I would like to keep this job.
Okay.
Let's not piss off the bosses at the final race of the season.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got excluded from racing.
That's really nice, but the BMW seemed to just let him by in that corner. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's Filiberti up into P3 ahead of Fabian Wenger. So, like you said, it kind of looked like he just let him by in that corner. I'm not really sure what happened there.
It seemed maybe the BMW has a problem. Yeah, I mean, he seems slower. Well, it's interesting. You don't normally lift in that corner. Maybe he went wide. That's a possibility as well. If you go wide, coming out of that fast corners, you slow down a lot. The gravel trap just traps you in, and you lose so much speed. As Coleman goes into the pits, I think that is. No, oh yeah.
Yeah, it is. What happened there? Did he make an error with his, I think he made an error with his pit stop, with his fuel, I think.
Well, that's very unlucky.
Yeah.
Commentator's curse strikes again.
Commentator's curse strikes again.
That's where your biased opinion...
Apologize for me to your brother.
yeah, I will. Well, that's a shame, because he was driving rather well, and that's now down at P5, I think, come the end of this. P6 even, that's Jessica Hoffman. So those two have some history. They know each other from Tier 1 races as well. So they fought each other quite a lot already this season. And now he'll have to make up some time to catch her again. But I think the clock will run out just before that happens. So that's a real shame for Rune, who was driving really well there. but it's now down into P6 again, just in front of Alessandro Sturla. So he'll be a bit disappointed with that, I think. Also, something I just mentioned is that I am missing someone in GT3. That's Fabian Roth. He was right up there with Manuel Fuchs for P2, but I don't see him anymore. And Fuchs is now in the pit lane as well. So it might have just been the first one to stop, to be honest, because the GT3 field doesn't really stop until the final minutes of the race, which was something that I said before this race as well. I'm curious to see if he is still in this race, but we will find out soon enough. Is Filiberti and Wenger also in the pit lane? That moves De Rauder up into P2 for the moment. Bauer is still in the lead. Let's see how this grid shapes up. There is Fabian Roth and P4. That is, yeah, just P3. It's just ahead of Manuel Fuchs. He has jumped the championship leader in this pit stop phase. Now the points difference between P3 and P4 are not big enough to overcome the 9-point deficit between the two drivers. So as it stands, it will still be Manuel Fuchs taking the championship, but it's not going to be it won't be the happiest of drivers out there. Manuel Fuchs not really aiming for a P1 in this race at this stage. But we'll see how this all ends up in the next 6 minutes and a little bit. As we see the pit stops for the GT3 cars coming through. Now, Daniel, go ahead, Sam.
Go on. Okay, that's really close. They almost made it to the end, but it's not really possible to save. What is it, like 4 laps? Yeah, that's not really it, but they get really close, as you said. I didn't expect that. I thought they're gonna pit at like 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's somewhere around this window with the hypercars. I think if you're driving like you normally would, I think you're supposed to pit. You can stretch it by I think 11 or 12 minutes to go. But yeah, I think with the GT3s it will be I think 4 or 3 minutes to go, where I'd expect most of the pit stops to happen, or maybe even like now would be quite a favorable part to pit, time to pit.
Yeah, I think this is with the GT3. Those fuel tanks usually last about 50 minutes, I think. So there's a bit of fuel saving going on for them. But interestingly, the hypercars usually kind of split their strategies at this race. So we saw, of course, Gaboupour and Hoffman kind of pitting halfway through this race and just splitting their fuel tanks in half. Whereas Trajani and Coleman and Bertolin tried to go a lot longer and only pit in the final 10-15 minutes of this race. So it's kind of interesting to see how that strategy works out for the hypercar drivers. I'm just gonna look at something if I can mention this. I'm not really sure if I can, to be honest, because it has to do with the next season of VMS.
Oh,
and I'm not really sure if I'm able to talk about that just yet.
Wait, you can like DM me which one to talk about.
Well, let's just speak about something that I do know I can talk about. That is that the pre-qualifying for season 4 is open from the 10th of December. It will be open from the 10th of December to the 3rd of January. For those of you who want to compete in the VMS, potentially in this split that you're watching right now, the bronze split, you'll be able to join our Discord. I think there's a link to it in the YouTube chat as well. If you haven't already, please do join it and give it a shot. Go for pre-qualifying, and maybe we will see you on the grid here for the next season, which starts, I think, around mid-January. If I'm not mistaken, somewhere around that time frame. So it's going to be very, very exciting. I know there are some rule changes in the works. I'm not really sure what I can say about it, but it's going to be very exciting next year around. So hopefully we will see some more drivers on the field then. Now I was going to ask you, Daniel, we of course have been commentating all season here in the Bronze. Just from memory, What are kind of your favorite moments or favorite races from the season? Is it a very difficult question?
I think it is, because I in my head I don't really I don't really differentiate between the silver and the bronze. But I think one moment that really stands out. No, there was silver. I think the podium of
Just
Schlichting.
go ahead.
Yeah, it was silver. The podium of Schlichting with the Valkyrie in Monza was silver for sure, because
That is a good shot. Yeah.
Yeah. You need to give me some time. I need to think properly. Go on. I will come back to you at some point.
Well, personally, I would say that the Spa race here, Bront, was phenomenal. Of course, with my brother taking pole position, but Barrault in the other Valkyrie taking the win. So that was of course, we've mentioned often that the Valkyrie is our favorite car in the field. So it was a very nice race for us to commentate on.
As well as oh, sorry, go on if you want to it.
Go ahead.
As well as to Spa, I think Fuji was quite a phenomenal race as well. We had loads and loads of fighting. We had Jessica Hoffman taking her first victory in VMS and being the first female victory in VMS. And we had like a really close battle there between her and Osama Kanani, I think it was, which was a little bit on the edge, but it was all within the rule books. So yeah, I think there was one moment that really stood out for me.
Yep, that's also a very good shout, as there's a yellow flag out there somewhere, just a brief one. It's been a phenomenal season here at the VMS bronze split, as well as silver, of course, but it's really been some phenomenal racing that we've witnessed here, as we are within the final minute and a half of this race. And it's looking more and more likely that Trajani will take the win here in the Toyota. Gabapur was leading, or Kanani was leading just for a little while at the early stages in the Peugeot, but didn't have the pace at all to counter the Toyota around this track. Looking phenomenal here by Trajani as he moves onto the final lap of this race with a minute to go. The clock will run down on the next lap. There we go. So we are on the final lap of the VMS Bronze Split season. Season 3 is coming to a close here. What a season it has been. For the final time, these cars will make their way on this magnificent track. And it will be Trajani who takes the win in a hypercar with Gabapur in P2 and Bertelen in P3, all within over 20 seconds between the drivers. Siats is looking very nice in P4 on debut with Jessica Hoffman in P5. In LM GT3, it is looking likely that Kevin Bauer will once again, if he finishes a race, he wins it. There you go in the Porsche 992, looking very quick in that GT3 car. And he's most likely to take the win here in Qatar with De Rauder in P2, Fabian Roth in P3, and Manuel Fuchs in P4. That result would be enough for Manuel Fuchs to take the championship, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I am. Just going to quickly fill in my sheet, but I don't think he will. Manuel Fuchs, it's 12 points. So I think, yes, as it stands, he will take the championship by 2 points difference compared to Kevin Bauer. As I say that, actually, P4 is 12 points, right?
P4, no, I think it is, yeah. 12 points, 18 for second, 15 for...
There we go.
Yeah.
So that would mean that Manuel Fuchs takes the championship by 2 points difference behind, just in front of Kevin Bauer, who is on 75 points, and Manuel Fuchs will be on 77 points. But it is Riccardo Trajani who takes the final win of the season in the Toyota GR Racing, and it's Gabapur, the champion of hypercar in the bronze split, who takes second place here in Qatar. A magnificent drive by Trajani who takes the win ahead of the Ferrari driver. Mattia Bortolin, kind of invisible all race long, but he's been really competitive this season as well, taking P3. And Kevin Bauer in the LMGT3 Porsche taking the win there as well in a few moments time. That the lights flashing on the Ferrari of Bortolin across the finish line. And that's Siats across the finish as well, with Jessica Hoffman just behind. That's the Valkyrie from the Coleman in P6 behind him as well. There we have him, Kevin Bauer, coming through the final sector of the circuit. He's a bit further back than the other hypercar drivers. I think he just got across the finish line before Trecciani lapped him. And coming through the final corner, he will take the win, but he will not take the championship. If my calculations are correct, and I think they are, he will lose out by just 2 points compared to Manuel Fuchs, who is still on the road to take P4 here. He spins the car around. He might know that it's not enough. Unfortunately for him, it's de Ruyter in P2. Great result by him. Fabian Roth in P3. Manuel Fuchs across the line in P4. Your LM GT3 champion here in Qatar. Well, Simon, that was not the most spectacular of races as your debut, as we see some donuts there by Fabian Roth. But it was an exciting one, a good race nonetheless, I think.
Yeah, it definitely was. The second half was not that interesting, as you said. It wasn't there, but the first half, I really enjoyed it. It was my debut towards the end of the season. I'll be happy to commentate next season, hopefully full time in some split. I will really enjoy that. As I seen, it wasn't that bad, and yeah, congratulations to all the champions from me at least, and I think guys and boys will have to say something to it as well.
Yeah, well, it was great to have you on board here tonight as we take a look at the results of LMG3. It is Bauer taking the win, de Ruyter P2, Fabian Roth P3, and your champion Manuel Fuchs in P4. 2 points ahead of Kevin Bauer in the end, so good job by him. Giovanni Filiberti in P5, Fabian Wenger P6, Corey Jason P7, and your DNFs are Alexander Radoshevich and Alex Stratman there in the end, not making the finish line. And so that's the final results of LM GT3 of the season. Someone saying in the chat, congrats to Bauer, but he should be in gold really. Well, given his pace, he might be able to go for it in pre-qualifying if he chooses to perform to compete in gold for next season. He's been phenomenal all year round. If it hadn't been for him missing a couple of rounds, I think he would have claimed the championship by with 2 fingers in his nose. Unfortunately for him, he didn't, but still a phenomenal performance by him nonetheless. Let's then take a look at the hypercar results in a few moments' time as well.
Well, yeah, the recovery from Bauer was really great to see. He was on the gravel. I think it was like 5th lap or something like that in the 10 minutes, and he just recovered to P1 and puts like a lot of time on P2. Great recovery from him, and I have to put my head down from that because that was a really good one.
That is very true, yes. Of course, if you miss it, he got hit by Radoshevich on lap 2, I think it was. Spun out, lost a lot of time, but he still managed to get the win. So it was a phenomenal drive. Very nice to see indeed. The hypercar results then, it is Riccardo Trecciani taking the win in a dominant way here in Qatar ahead of Gabopur, your hypercar champion of this season. Mattia Bottalen finishes up the podium, followed by Dominic Siats on debut in P4. Jessica Hoffman in P5, Ruud Koolman in P6 in the end, unfortunately for him. Alexander Sturle in P7, Osama Kanani, the only DNF of this race in hypercar. I got a feel for Knani, maybe, Simon. I think he had the pace, but just a bit unlucky with all the carnage going on there. I think he could have ended up quite high in the end.
Yeah, well, definitely. He had... I don't think he especially had the pace. I think the Peugeot played against him this race, if I could say that. Because, yeah, on the straights he was able to keep up, but as soon as it came to the corners, there were just faster cars, faster guys. And it was just, yeah, I don't think the pace was there, but he definitely had the pace to challenge for the podium. But yeah, it's really unfortunate for him that spin into turn 1. Definitely fought for it. He wanted that, but sadly it didn't come true towards the end of the season. We'll hope he'll come back stronger, ever so stronger, next race.
Yeah, well, knowing Kanani, he will come back and he will try his then hardest to compete and score some good points in the race. So I'm sure he'll be back for next season, either bronze or whatever split he ends up being. It's always entertaining to see him race around here. As usual, if there's any drivers listening to us, feel free to jump into the interview waiting room. We would like to talk to you about the race, about your results, about your championship position. So far, there's no one wanting to talk to us, so maybe they're all just done with
Exhausted.
us. Just exhausted.
All done with us. Yeah, that's also really.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Given
it's
how
because
much
of the commentator curse, isn't
I
it?
was gonna say, yeah.
And we're the main reason why they are performing worse than they've been normally. So I don't blame them at all.
That is true. Yeah, if there's a bad race, it's usually because of us.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I think it's looking a bit more likely that we won't have any interviews at the end of this. So, well, Daniel, I'm going to start with you. That is the bronze split done for this season.
Yeah.
That was very entertaining. It was the first season commentating for me, of course, but it's been a pleasure having you alongside me in a commentator's booth. Are there any plans for next season you want to share with us, maybe?
First of all, I just can return the favor to you. It's been really great having you on board in both silver and bronze. I think it was quite a great dynamic we had in the past season. Yeah, I mean, the plan right now is to pre-qualify for me and compete in whichever split I'm going to be able to, which in my head would be, I think, bronze. Bronze, I think, would be one of the best opportunities I could have. I mean, silver would be thrilling. I competed in silver by circumstantially, I think, last weekend because lots of signups were lots of otherwise there were not many signups at all. So I somehow circumstantially got into silver. But yeah, I think you will be seeing me next season, not only in the commentary booth, but as well on the track. But yeah, we'll continue commentating if I'm going to be able to.
Well, I look forward to seeing you out on track. Maybe I can comment it on you for a change as well. So I wish you all the best with that in advance, and hopefully you will join me again next season as well in the commentary booth, of course. It's been a real pleasure. Simon, as I already said, it's been a pleasure having you here tonight. I think you're kind of permanently joining the team for next season as well, right? So we might be seeing you a bit more often.
Yeah, I would definitely like to commentate as much as I can because now I relived it. I took a break from commentating for quite some time and now I'm just taking it all in and it's really fun again to just commentate, go out there. So I think I want to commentate as much as I can. So people will hear me quite a lot here. I hope so at least. I might jump in for some race, maybe. I'll have to see, but LMAU is just not my type of tea for racing. I rather choose iRacing, but it's not that I hate it, but I might jump in, maybe we'll meet with Daniel on the track, so try not to crash me out, yeah.
No, surely not.
Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe I'll create some content, I can disguise it.
Make me something to commentate on. Yeah,
but it's nothing personal.
Yeah, it was a pleasure commentating with you guys towards the end of the season to make my debut here, and I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure having you here tonight. As for me, I will be returning hopefully next season as well. It's been a great pleasure to be commentator for here at the VMS. Just want to say thank you to everyone who is organizing this and hosting this wonderful league. It's been a huge pleasure and a huge honor to be a commentator here. And I've been doing it with a lot of enthusiasm, and I've loved every second of it. So hopefully until next season, I'm kind of counting on it, but hopefully till next season, I think that's it for us here tonight in Qatar. This is the bronze split done and dusted for this season. Don't forget, the pre-qualifyings will be open starting on the 10th of December. So if you want to compete, please feel free to join the season there.
And
my name is
Platinum. Don't forget Platinum on Sunday. Don't forget the most important season finale there is this year and this weekend.
Forget everything else you've planned on Sunday. That is the most important thing you have to watch then. There's nothing else happening.
Absolutely correct.
Yes. So please do tune in on Sunday to the Platinum Split finale. Still a lot to play for in the hypercar settings, especially there. So a lot of entertainment, a lot of great racing. I think that will be Ed Hunter and Chris commentating on that one. Chris Buxton, yes. It will be. So a great commentator duo, of course. So it'll be providing you all the action there. Thank you, Omet, for hosting the stream here tonight. Again, as always, you've done a wonderful job. My name is Sverre Koolman. I've been joined by Dan Krylov and Simon Mucik. Thank you very much for watching. It's been an honor, and we will see you next season in the bronze split for VMS. See you then.